Our speaker is a supply chain and lean management guru. He has a master's in supply chain management, master's in project management, master's in business administration. He's a fellow of the Institution of Supply and Materials Management. And most importantly, in my opinion, he's a black belt, not a karate black belt. He's a Six Sigma black belt and a black belt on lean management, which are top-notch qualifications to have. And the one that impresses me most is that he started at the rank level. Today he's a supply chain guru, but he started as an inventory controller. And he has held positions like supply chain management, procurement management, human resource management, quality management, production management, and so on and so forth. Presently, our speaker, Mr. I.G. Pereira, is the president of Institution of Supply and Materials Management in Sri Lanka. He's a consultant to leading apparel groups of companies and serves in the visiting faculties of Green University in Homagama, University of Colombo, NIBM, and etc. He also has a lot of teaching assignments in UK, especially in UK and Australia. Today's topic that Mr. Pereira is going to speak about is a very important one, which we all as a nation faced, and we face it today even. So we look forward to this exciting presentation by Mr. I.G. Pereira, that is reinventing the supply chain for a post-COVID era. Mr. Pereira, over to you.
Thank you very much for the introduction and listening with high expectations.
Thank you, sir. We can hear you, we can see you very clearly. Both are okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, reinventing the supply chain for a post-COVID era. So I must thank the organizers of this event for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts. Supply chain management was not known to many people, but unfortunately, but thanks to COVID, let me ask you a few questions. How many of you have faced with a stock out situation when you visited the supermarket for a particular item? And how many of you blame the supply chain or otherwise COVID? Thanks to COVID, today, supply chain management has become a widely recognized concept. 94% of the Fortune 1000 companies experience supply chain disruptions due to COVID-19 today. So you can see these disruptions are in many sectors, many areas. 57% of companies reported worsening lead times due to various reasons. Production facilities did not have enough material to produce and thereby supply these goods to their customers. On average, suppliers are operating at less than 50% capacity, maybe due to lack of raw material and other resources. So you can see the gravity of the problem. On top of that, many organizations will be faced with staffing levels at, in some cases, less than 50% capacity. So they have idling resources to many production facilities and other service sectors. 44% of companies, this is a severe case, do not have a specific plan to handle China-based disruption. This alarms us for different areas of supply chain management. One of the things that are being explored is whether we should be restricting ourselves to a particular geographic area in terms of supply chain management. And on top of all, in many countries, mainly in the US, there's a tidal wave of bankruptcies. One of the oldest retailer, JCPenney, Victoria's Secret, those retailers as well as Neiman Marcus, Hertz, Kroger, kind of retailers, Dillard's, and airlines such as Flyby, Virgin Airlines. Not only these retailers and producers, even the oil company like BP. And one of the old genes, Williams. So see the severity of this. Now you can see, because of these bankruptcies, because of the close of airlines, what will happen to the airline traffic volumes? Day by day, volumes are being shrinked. Not only airlines, even other modes of transportation. It can be road transportation, truck transportation, rail transportation, or even sea transportation. So there will be, in time to come, there will be a spike of demand, but not only due to the increased demand, on the other way around, but due to close of some of these facilities and being not able to start their services with the new normal coming to come. So the new normal is very important. Everybody should understand what will be the new normal of supply chain management. What is supply chain management, going into a little bit theoretical aspects? So supply chain management is a set of approaches utilized to efficiently integrate. This integration is very important. Many players of the supply chain, suppliers, manufacturers, warehouses, and other service providers are produced, distributed at right quantities to the right locations at the right time is very important. Why are we doing all these things? In order to serve the customers with a particular service level, minimizing the cost. That's very important. And today, almost all the companies are worried about the bottom lines. And many costs have been incurred in the areas of supply chain management. What is this disruption? We say supply chains have been disrupted. Yes. When you dig into the micro levels, those are the flows of various aspects of supply chains. What are these flows? Material and resources, funds, money, and information. So material and resources are disrupted. The flow of material and resources. Many ports, airports have been closed. New regulations have been brought for goods for importation. Even Sri Lanka has certain items are restricted. And many countries. At the same time, functioning of banks have been limited for certain functions and transfer of funds have been restricted. Information flow, although we are at the peak of certain information networks, still it's a question whether the suppliers and the supply chain partners there have the real visibility of information that they require. And value addition. Although the raw materials are there, the production facilities cannot be operated due to various other factors. So the production is, value addition is disrupted. Innovation is the name of the game, and innovation is, everybody is talking about innovation, but what level of facilitation do we get during facilities in this period? So these are the real disruptions in the supply chains. The flow of material, flow of funds, flow of information, flow of value addition, and flow of innovation. So what should we do? How can we set it about them? Companies should concentrate on reinventing the supply chains. You can't just wait. You can hand over the issue to the time, and time will solve the issue. So we should be making efforts. And the post-corona era will be a new normal. It will not be the pre-corona era. It will be totally a new normal. So we all should be getting ready to embrace the new normal. You can't just wait. How do we do this, and what can we do in order to get the new normal into practice? One of the prime things that the companies should be doing today is revisiting their corporate plans. You may come up with brilliant corporate plans, contingency plans, but at the end of the day, if you don't share your plans at operational level or tactical and operational level, employees, and if you don't get their buying in, nothing will happen. The situation will be worse. Therefore, one of the critical things that companies should be focusing today is getting their employees buying in towards their revisited corporate plans. I know already some of the companies have announced layoff plans, salary cuts, work cuts. There are so many practical measures have been taken, discouraging the contribution of employees. But it may be required to keep the ship balanced. But in the long run, you need employees. Without employees, you don't have an organization and nothing will work, nothing will happen. So therefore, employees buying in is very important. Not only the planning of super plans. That is number one. So number two will be develop supply chain based resilience. So many people, many scholars are talking about it. Many organizations have taken different types of measures. How do you develop supply based resilience? Today, pre-corona period, if you take, you may have had, so this is one of the cases that a lot of supply chains are dependent on China today, restricting 90% of the supplies to the one geographic area. Should it be the case in the future? Why can't we shift from China to other regional supply chain bases? Why can't we shift from globalization to regionalization? What are the benefits then? The companies should change their strategies from going global to going regional. Depending on one particular geographic area, spreading it out to many geographic areas, regionalization. What are the tactics or the strategies that are available in this regard to mitigate the risk factors in supply chains? One of the things, if you can shift to multiple suppliers from different regions for the same category of products, risk will be shared, or at least to have dual suppliers for each category of item at minimum 2 suppliers, and not depending on one particular geographic area, spreading the risk to or the supplies bases to many geographic areas. Those are some of the strategies that can be looked into in addition to the formal risk mitigating plans that organizations are already having. And enhance partnerships with the logistics providers. It's very important. You may be having third-party logistics, fourth-party logistics, and in certain organizations thinking about fifth-party logistics, seventh-party logistics, and 100% digital environment, even 10th-party logistics, just a concept at the moment. But many organizations in many countries are operating with third-party logistics organizations. But in the short run, can we all still go ahead with these contracts? For the short run, at least, till we are coming back to the new normal, you should be revisiting, negotiating with these logistics providers. And remember, they are your partners. Your suppliers are your partners, your logistics service providers are your partners. So at this moment, both parties, your logistics providers as well as organizations, both parties are in trouble. So you can have negotiations and come to a win-win situation in the case of handling this particular COVID era. And develop a new approach to inventory management. This is very important. Production organizations and production departments may not be happy to minimize inventories. So they would always prefer to have larger amount of inventories. So their flexibility is high. Their planning will be quite easier when you have inventories in your department, in the stores, in your house. But it is challenged here. Some of the concepts that we have been implementing in many organizations, just in time, lean management, are challenged by this particular virus. You can see the inventory management should have, so at least low value items should be given a serious consideration. A few weeks back, it was difficult to find even a face mask, toilet papers, low value items. So those who are planning strategies for inventory management should be thinking about these low value items and how much of inventories and we should ascertain scientifically to maintain. And inventory, if the required level of information visibility is not there, it will be leading to an effect called pull effect. So you can see at the customers and maybe at the retailers here, a small high cost demand is triggered. But when it comes to the warehouse, all the retailers are increasing their demand with the customers' demand increase. The warehouse will increase their inventories to a greater level. So when the warehouses or the distribution centers are demanding higher level of inventories from the distribution center, they will demand a higher level of inventories from the producers. So the producers might think, okay, there's a higher level of demand coming in now from the distribution centers and they will increase productions. What happens now? You saw when the COVID message was going across, supermarkets were crowded and there were a lot of panic buying. Heartful loads of provisions were purchased by consumers. What has happened today? Supermarkets are open. Can we see that type of panic buying today? The demand is increased. If the supply chain partners have increased their inventories, what would happen is, for some time they will have to maintain the inventories at the cost. So with the new normal, to flatten their inventories, it might take some time. The warehouses will be full. So how do you mitigate this? That is why, as one of the previous persons has very correctly explained, the digitization and the visibility to the side of the supply chain in various partners of the supply chain. It's very important. Contract structures, maybe you are having the contract with your suppliers, contract with your third-party logistics providers, and many other partners of supply chain management. And you continue with the same contract, same clauses of the contract. The business is not normal, the environments are not normal, the demands have been disrupted, you will not be able to still adhere to the same clauses of the same contracts. So why not you reevaluate the contracts with the concerned parties? How do you manage this particular short period of time till we come to the new normal? We need to revisit the contracts and come to an agreement with the suppliers and parties who have a win-win situation. So all the business managers who are responsible for contracts must have done already. If not, it should be an immediate action that should be taken. Enhance insourcing. Now, although you have outsourced certain functions, processes in the organization, at this moment you must be having enough labor idling, space idling, resources idling. So why not you negotiate with your contracted parties and increase the insourcing element of organizations? And not only in the production sector, even in the service sector, many universities have today allocated more modules and lectures to the internal faculty rather than the visiting faculty, focusing on insourcing. This has been talked a lot. Digitalize your supply chain and set up data sharing platforms. I'm not going to elaborate this because this have been talked, I believe. It's very important, data visibility. So then, bullwhip effect kind of supply chain dynamics can be mitigated. And this is very important. In Sri Lankan context, Asia Pacific Institute of Digital Marketing, and I've done this particular survey, it shows 70% of the people believe that working from home is preferred. So that is why you want to reinvent your supply chain. So people prefer to work from home. And the organizational structures, timing, schedules should be revisited. 66% of people preferred remote learning. And your mode of operandi will be changed. New normal. Already many universities and professional institutions have decided to allocate certain percentage of lectures, not face-to-face, but online, going forward continuously. That will give them many benefits. Maybe resource allocations will be more efficient. Cost bases can be reduced. And in certain research have revealed, even the student participation is increased with online facilities. An online grocery of shopping, 50% of the people preferred. And this is the good news for new entrants to the market. Retailers, one of the pharmaceutical companies I know, they started very small. They were struggling to get across to consumers online, but thanks to COVID, their sales have been increased by 300%. And many consumers, they say now, we would like to continue with you with the services that are provided. So this has paved the way for newcomers. And education department, Ethan Salawa, many of you might know, it was very popular during the COVID, and even today many schools have used this facility to enhance their education programs. My request to the government is, why not this facility to all the departments of Sri Lanka? You see, when you go to the labor department, when you go to the departments, how many people are just waiting and killing their time? Why can't we extend these services and offer these services through online and minimize, at least have a plan, master plan, minimize every year 10% of the people coming to departments to get the services.
Mr. Perak.
And transportation.
Yes, Mr. Perak, shall we take some questions within the next 5 minutes? And
okay, so let me finish quickly then. Yeah, and make effective decisions grounded with data analytics, very important. Dr. Devin once said, anything from the God I will not challenge, but everything else should be backed by analyzed data. So no decision should be taken without data analytics. Build smarter supply chains, modeling, scenario analysis, and monitoring and controlling. This is one of the critical things that you should be doing, monitoring and controlling. So I have experience in many organizations, especially in Sri Lankan context, monitoring and controlling is very important, whatever you innovate and automate. From globalization to digitalization, I think I have touched on that. Also, protagonist and the stress test, I think, have been touched by other speakers, new supply chains, and also back to basics. Not only, you can't just hand over everything to the systems. I think human touch should be increased, navigating volumes and flexibility. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Pereira, thank you for that very clear depiction of the new scenario. But let me ask you what I would call a integrated question, as you said. This new scenario, you are essentially proposing integrated data right throughout the supply chain using digital technology. That is essentially the summation of the whole thing. And then the questions are these. In this new scenario you are making or proposing, has the first question is, has the institution of material supply and materials management institution, have you come up with a national policy on this one, which is very clear and what to be done with the timeline, number one? Can you please answer that question first, then I'll ask the others.
Of course, yes. So as you are aware, so OP has formulated a national policy, and Institute of Supply and Materials Management, we were responsible for drafting the new policy and the action plans on what should be doing to address the new era. And certain elements is the new things, mobile marketing, delivery services, how good to address pharmaceuticals. So all these categories, areas have been addressed with that. So we have contributed in greater extent through OPA to the national issue.
Mr. Pereira, the OPA policy paper was submitted to the government?
I think, yes.
So in this new scenario that you are describing, where technology is the really thing, the digital technology, and then I have a curious question in my mind. Where was the supply chain management and digitalization before COVID-19? Because technology had been there. You are a black belt in Six Sigma and lean manufacturing. These are almost 20, 30 years old in terms of concepts for the world. Why weren't we doing it, and how can we do it now? And are we ready as a country? For example, digital buying and selling and all this stuff. Can 85 to 90% of the people in this country can do that? Or do they have the infrastructure? Or are we talking about the Colombo crowd?
Okay. It's a very good question. Getting technology into supply chain management area was happening definitely, especially in the first world countries. It was taking place with organizations like Walmart, Kroger, kind of giant retailers. So if not the technology, they will not be able to handle the operations. And as you very correctly said, in Sri Lanka, so what will be the literacy level of digital literacy level of digitalization and use of digital equipment in procurement and purchasing area and in many other areas as well. Yes, we have an issue. But you can see thanks to COVID, what has happened to mobile marketing, what has happened to online marketing, what has happened to online purchasing, it has been increased by more than 40%, I believe. So this is an opportunity for the government and the retailers and the retail chains of this country to think about it, and even to embark on other sectors in mobile services. So digitization was taking place at a particular rate in the first world countries, but not in the third world countries. But this expedited that particular usage of technology in procurement and purchasing other areas, even the household capital equipment. So in Sri Lanka, customary, normally household items and the capital equipments are not purchased through online. And Sri Lankan households, most of the household equipment are decided by ladies, although men spent. But what has happened during this period, even to household items, it has been spent. So therefore, it's very important. We are in the right track now. What we should be doing is building right platforms, getting across to many people. We will not be able to reach each and every corner of Sri Lanka, but whatever the percentage that we reach, we should be able to increase the literacy level in terms of digitization, digital literacy level.
Thank you, Mr. Perera. One last. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Perera. One last question. And before I do that, let me make a statement. Anywhere in the world, the ladies make the decisions, okay? All capital equipment, right? I have seen it everywhere. In fact, it's a well-known fact in marketing. The ladies make the decisions. So it has not changed and will not change. The last question to you is what are the disruptions that you face? It's actually a three-pronged question. One, this digitalization of supply chain, will it make this relationship between the customers and the suppliers different? Number one. Number two, question number two is that will it disrupt? What are the new disruptors? So we go digital and everything. What is it that we need to watch out for?
So let me explain a little bit what has been actually challenged due to COVID. As I touched on some of these things, the concepts like just-in-time, lean management, outsourcing, global sourcing. So these concepts have been challenged. What are the things that have been supported or that have been supported by COVID is maybe organizations are thinking more on risk planning, transparency, dual sourcing and multiple sourcing, local sourcing, restricting purchases to local areas, monitoring, automation and innovation. So in such a situation, the new normal should be embraced by the suppliers as well as the customers. So we, as suppliers, we should be ready to embrace the new normal, again, focusing on the basic, providing what they want at the right time to the right place, with the right quantities, with the right quality and so on. So managing the suppliers in the new normal will be different. Managing the suppliers, customers will also, it will be different. But it doesn't mean that the relationships will be deteriorated. We should be able to enhance the relationship. Still, why? Customers, they will not be able to survive without suppliers. Suppliers, they will not be able to without customers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Perera. Thank you very much for your very specific presentation. Your slides are great, by the way, visible. So thank you very much. And I want Kina Batumata.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thanks to the organizers.
Yeah, because you are one of our member associations president. So a special thank you for you, sir. Thank you very much.